citizens of YouTube land.
Hey.
It's your president and your VP. And, of course, we are in the middle of the month of the March of the Irish. And, we still have the poster up, so we'll have to take care of that later. I know that's what he's looking at. But
yeah. In case if you don't know, we launched a new channel today.
Yeah, so...
as the recording of this video. I don't know when this will actually get uploaded.
Yeah, go check that out if you haven't already. Diddy and Son Music. You won't regret it because it's going to be great. But moving on from that, today, of course, we've got another episode of Walker, Texas Ranger to talk about. In fact, it's the sequel episode of the last one we talked about.
No way!
Yes way. Unbelievable as it may be, because other than this, there's only three other instances in which there are sequel episodes. Those being the LaRue trilogy, which we're going to get to that eventually. Y'all know. It's going to take a little bit of time, but we're going to get to it. Secondly, there's, of course, the Rogues Gallery finale episode at the end of the series that is basically serves as the overall series finale. But that's neither here nor there, because we're talking about the Irish Republican Army. Yet again, guys. Provisional version. Not the new one, but okay. Previously, we had said allegedly, and allegedly is the correct word throughout the world, with the exception of the United Kingdom, where they are, in fact, said organization that we discussed about last time.
Yeah, but there's a new group that goes by the New Irish Republican Army that also are recognized as a foreign terrorist group by the U.S.
So there's that, guys.
So they are, in fact, a recognized terrorist organization.
So let's get right into this, though, because there's a lot to talk about here. First and foremost, the episode starts in Belfast, Northern Ireland. This is very important because the IRA are up to their old shenanigans. They got some weapons.
With the car-kaboom booms?
With the car-kaboom booms and the weapons. And lo and behold, some Irish nationalist army people, they kind of come in and they're like, no, IRA, this ain't happening. We're shutting you down. Well, boys and girls, if you remember, there was a character called Maguire from the last
Adam
time.
Maguire.
And he is back in this one. And so he actually makes sure that this character named Banyan's brother sleeps with the fishes. And Banyan's like, I'm going to have revenge on you. And someday I'm going to make sure that you sleep with the fishes. Kind of show him like right here. Because it's important to the overall plot. So with that out of the way, we kind of move forward. And you get CD and Walker sitting there, and Trevette, being a man of the late 90s, he's all, hey, CD, you got to get your website. This is the modern age. What are you doing, you dum-dum? But CD's like, listen, Trevette, my mom had a telephone and something else, and she didn't use the telephone after 8 o'clock, and you're not going to convince me, blah, blah, blah. So... And meanwhile, Walker, he just wants some hot sauce. He's over there, he's chilling, he's eating breakfast.
Walker, CD's like, you see here, that man doesn't have a fancy cell phone or a pager or an answering machine for the fact. He's like, and I don't have any hot sauce either.
Yeah, it's just a little Chuck Norris-isms that we all kind of know that are kind of famous. Which, guys... If you ever get a chance, check out the Chuck Norrisism online because they are absolutely hilarious. We heard one the other day that just broke us. It was so great.
We can't actually repeat what they said here because we try to keep it PG.
But it was great. There is one that we can talk about, and that is fact.
Okay, so Chuck Norris wants to miss 2 days of school. Now those 2 days are called the weekend.
So you're welcome for that, guys. And of course, okay. So Maguire, now has to go to America, to Dallas, Texas, because apparently Dallas Medical is one of the best in the country because Walker said it was. So that's enough proof for me, because if Walker says it's true in Walker Texas Ranger universe, then you just accept it as fact. Whatever he says goes. So Walker receives a phone call from McGuire telling him that he's going to be in Dallas. Well, the IRA boys also know that this is going to happen. So there's this other guy that was also part of the last episode where he kind of got a roundhouse to the face by Walker and kind of went through some glass and got cut up Scarface style on the right side of his face. He's like, yeah, I got my reasons, and I'm going to get Walker too. So the IRA are now in Dallas, and they're about to execute their plan. And their plan's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. And that is that they're going to basically dress up as some surgeons and EMTs. And then they're going to basically kidnap McGuire's daughter. Oh, excuse me, I can't say that. I have to edit that part out. They are going to take McGuire's daughter with them and keep them with them until McGuire renounces the peace treaty that they have in place. Well, McGuire tells them that, hey, they're not even going to buy that if I decide to do that. And he's like, well, it's your job to make sure that it happens and that people do buy it because your daughter's life depends on it. And then Banyan said, then McGuire's like, she's just a child. And Banyan says that his brother was too. Well, excuse me for just a second for saying this, but Banyan's brother was like a 35-year-old grown man who made his own decision. And guys, this episode teaches you that sometimes when you do bad things are going to happen to you.
Yeah. And it kind of just gets me wondering, because it's like, since technically they committed the crime on U.S. soil, do they get charged in the U.S. and then sent back to Ireland to get charged there? Or?
I don't know the specifics of it. It's Walker, so you just kind of go with the flow on that matter. So, right. She has, but backing up just a little bit, because this is important too, and I really want to talk about this, and that's the fact that he comes to America, and McGuire's daughter finds out that she has leukemia, and they need like a lung transplant immediately.
Bone marrow transplant.
Yeah, bone marrow transplant, basically immediately, which flies in the face of all logic, first and foremost, because
leukemia is a cancer that affects your lungs.
Well, not just that. Leukemia makes you weak and sick, and that this little girl is supposed to have a transplant. What is she doing? Basically going, oh, yeah, Walker, when I get better, take me to the reservation because I want to meet this dude, White Eagle. He sounds like a real fine chap. What?
Did you just use Irish slang there? A real fine chap?
I guess so. Well, I should have said a real fine lad, but... but, so... the kind of you just kind of have to go with it, though, because in case you guys don't know, we are big Walker fans, so it doesn't really matter. But in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it's like there's no sense of realism there. So just accept that she has leukemia, but she basically has superpowers that are like Wolverine healing powers that are keeping her just sick enough to need a transplant, a bone marrow transplant, but not sick enough to be hospital-ridden, bedridden for it in the first place. So, Walker understands that this is a big issue. So what does he do? He gets the real-life Kick Drugs Out of America charity program that Chuck Norris himself, mind bomb here, because the real-life charity is now getting involved in this fictional TV show, and just conveniently, he just happens to have a student that has the exact bone marrow match that's needed. So,
named Dennis.
yeah, I know. I had no idea. But
apparently you gave your bone marrow to a sick child.
Apparently.
Are you happy about that?
Well, I did live in Texas at one point, guys. So no, I'm playing. But so moving on, the IRA have their plan, and of course, it doesn't go the way they want it because the dude that's obsessed with revenge on Walker, he tries to confront Walker in an alley. It doesn't work. He immediately gets his butt kicked. He immediately gets in the Chevy Blazer because the bad guys drive Chevys on Walker, Texas Ranger.
Or Fords.
Or Fords, but in this case it's Chevys this time around. So he gets in the Chevy Blazer. Of course, they have a helicopter, a whirly-bird in the sky. The whirly-bird is, of course, tracking the Chevy Blazer to the exact location where the IRA boys are hanging out in this deep, dark, depressing dungeon-type place.
It's a barn.
And meanwhile, like an elderly member of the IRA guy, he's kind of like very sympathetic and is like, hey, I'm kind of worried about this little girl. She's not going to make it because suddenly leukemia, apparently you're fine 1 minute and then like the next minute, boop, almost instant death. Yeah. So she makes it to the hospital in time because we got to speed this along. The IRA boys get defeated, and then after that, we get one last kind of little quip, and of course, everything works out perfect for Walker and his friends, and the little girl survives because it's Walker, Texas Ranger episode, and there's never any tragedy ever, except when we get to some of the darker elements involving a certain trilogy that we already talked about, and also an episode where a longtime friend ends up sleeping with the fishes too. But we'll get to that eventually. But until then, guys, final rating. This is a pretty good one. 4 out of 5. What say you?
Yeah, 4 out of 5. Seems fair.
It's a pretty good episode. It's not the best one. It's not super over the top, but there are some over the top Walker, Texas Ranger elements, but not quite classics. We ain't getting cannibals here. We don't have bears. We don't have them rappelling off of helicopters onto semis here. So it's just kind of a standard episode, but it's pretty good for what it is. And with that, not sure where we're going to go next with the IRA themed type movies on this section, but we'll find some more stuff for you guys. In the meantime, check out the comics channel where we're going to have a Spider-Man Scorpion story coming out for you guys on that channel. We've also got stuff coming out on the brand new music channel that we just talked about. And there's also
involving a certain album, if you will.
Yeah, and there's also more stuff coming out on the video gaming channel. So if you haven't been watching that stuff, go check it all out, guys. We appreciate all the support, even the ones who decide to dislike the video from time to time.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
With that being said, guys, there's only one thing left to say, and that, of course, is peace and love from Denny and Son. Bye.